So with Shams' report yesterday that Daryl Morey and the Sixers are going to be more measured at the trade deadline, making moves around the edges rather than making a big splash, I was coming to terms with that and thinking about it from the Sixers fan perspective. And I've fully bought into this strategy by Daryl Morey. And right now, I want to talk about why, frankly, I would rather have 3 Kelly Olynyks than 1 Zach LaVine. All right, so Kelly Olynyk, look, right now, if you're looking at the raw numbers for this season, 8, 5, and 4.5 is not the flashiest line. I fully get it, but he's also playing 20 minutes a game off the bench this year and is a huge reason for why the Jazz are 14-3 right now in their last 17, just surging through this completely loaded West, just wrecking teams left and right. And Kelly Olynyk's assist rate is a big reason why, You look at a combination of his per 100 possession stats, which, kind of scale up his usage to a bigger role. And then you also look at the advanced stats at the percentages and everything. And he's having what might be his best year. Look, his adjusted for 100 possessions offensive rating is as good as it's ever been. His true shooting is also as good as it's ever been. I mean, the guy is shooting 42% from 3 and 55% from the field right now. It's really just like a clinic that he's putting on. His offensive rating, as I said, is as high as it's ever been, scaled up per 100. It's at 4 threes attempted a game, which is another thing that the Sixers obviously need. And also, look, he's a veteran of 10 years, and he's been around on some teams that made real playoff runs. I mean, obviously, Sixers fans, we all remember his impact with the Celtics. He was never their best player, but then some nights he kind of was the reason why they were so competitive. He is such a great glue guy. He has become such a fantastic passer this year. I really can't overstate that his assist percentage being at 27% for an assist rate, that's like completely elite for a big man. That is, obviously we're not talking Jokic territory, but it is totally elite for a big man. And having that with the second unit behind your MVP Joel Embiid is what the Sixers need right now, because not only do we need someone like that to charge the second unit forward and everything like that, there's also some lineups where you might need him as the 4 rather than someone like Paul Reed for the sake of spacing. There's a lot of lineups out there for the Sixers where you would much rather have Olynyk's playmaking ability and his spacing than someone like Reed, especially when you have one of the great rim protectors in the league in Embiid. I think you're almost set defensively. I really don't think that any sort of defensive weakness with Olynyk's size and his strength and his knowledge of the game is going to hold you back in comparison to someone like Reed, who I'm not slacking him at all. I'm just saying that this is going to make this would potentially make the Sixers such a better fit. So I also wanted to talk about the value. This is the reason why I said that thing about Zach LaVine, who makes, $45 million a year. Olynyk is in the last year of his deal right now, which is only for $12 million, right? So you could say that that's a rental. You could say he's going to walk away. If he contributes to the Sixers making a deep playoff run, maybe he pulls a Bruce Brown and gets a bag somewhere else, and that would be good for him. But I see it as this is an older player who has been on real competitive teams before, but never quite got there with them, obviously with those mid-2010s Celtics teams he was on. And he's a guy who maybe just wants a ring and sees Embiid and Maxey running their 2-man game and saying, hey, maybe I'm the 5th option. Maybe I'm the 7th option here, some nights. But I really think that as a playmaker, his talent is just so exceedingly what we need at that spot right now, because we need guard upgrades. There's no doubt about that we need guard upgrades, and I want to talk about that later. But the thing is, with Olynyk at $12 million, you can grab 2 more contracts, maybe even 3. If you're thinking about the haul that we would have to give up for Zach LaVine, let's say we give that up and instead get 3 guys who make $12 to $18 million a year. You would love that, right? You know, even if you go a little lower, not Caruso's at $9 million a year. I really think that is exactly what the Sixers need to do. And according to Shams, that's kind of what they're sniffing around right now. There hasn't been any substantiated reporting about Olynyk specifically, but the Jazz have been marketed as sellers all season. They're on a very hot streak right now, and I think the sensible thing for Danny Ainge to do, since he clearly doesn't have a true playoff team here, he has a very good cohesive unit, he can sell high on these guys. And, you know, the Sixers as buyers, that might be perfect for them as a target for Ainge. You know, I think that Morey is someone who is one of the only GMs in the association who can kind of get around Ainge's way of outsmarting people, because Morey knows how to not get fleeced. You know, we've seen it over the last couple of years when whether he's trying to get rid of a big contract or get someone else on a small contract, you know. So I really wouldn't worry about that. And I just think that, you know, you can get maybe even 4 guys if you're getting Olynyk at 12 and Caruso at 9. You know, I really think that depth and connective players is what the Sixers need right now, because when you have an MVP like Joel Embiid just dominating the league, dominating even the defending champion the other night like he did, it really is all about the connective pieces, the connective tissue, the gel that makes a team ready to win a championship. I'm not saying Kelly Olynyk is the reason why the Sixers would have a chance to win a championship. That would be absurd. But if you add Kelly Olynyk, a guard or two, and another wing who can play defense and knock down threes, then the Celtics are kind of nothing. Not nothing, but I really have a lot of confidence in this team as a true blue contender if everyone's healthy, if you make those swaps around the deadline. I mean, think about it last year, what Rob Pelinka did for the Lakers. That roster was in complete shambles, and just a few mid-range contracts changed everything. And yeah, they got swept by Denver, the world champions, in the conference finals, but they made it to the conference finals. And I think right now the Sixers have a much better core than the Lakers did when they were fooling around with Russell Westbrook last year, and the East might be easier to get through than the West was last year. So look, I'm not saying the East is easy. I'm not saying the Sixers have an easy road ahead of them. I'm not even saying that they will make these great trades at the deadline. But if this reporting is to be believed about making moves around the edge, Sean already made a video about Bogdanović. That would be killer. Bogdanović and Olynyk, and as I said, Caruso, already becoming a favorite name to say on this channel. I think you got yourself a true favorite there. See you next time on Sixers Digest.